Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto, and today we are taking a cheeky look at what the Cardano creator Charles Hoskinson has to say about the XRP, Ripple and SEC saga. So Chris, this is going to be an interesting one. It's a little bit lengthy, but we're going to go in deep and find out, what is Charles's opinion on this whole big thing. And, I think it's been blown out of the water. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I do, Nick, and I think, after we've gone through what Charles has got to say, maybe we'll round it up with our thoughts and opinions, and, we'll let you guys know what it is that we think.
Absolutely. So guys, if you do find it useful and informative, go ahead and smash that like button for Chris. He really appreciates it, as do I. And if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. By subscribing, you will be kept up to date with all the videos and live streams that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Right, Chris, let's jump on over to the desktop, read through what Charles has to say, and then come on back here and give our thoughts and opinions on what was in store for XRP, Ripple, and all the nonsense over at the SEC.
Yeah, sounds good, Nick. Let's get straight into it.
Fantastic. Right, so here we are, right? So Cardano creator says the XRP is not a security, but its distribution may be problematic. And yeah, I for one agree it's definitely not a security, because that would be nonsense. But let's see what's going on. Right, so Cardano creator Charles Hoskinson is weighing in on the US Securities and Exchange Commission's, the SEC, as everyone kind of knows them to be, against Ripple, right? And the agency's assertion that XRP is an unregistered security, which we are firmly in that camp of nonsense that is. But in a series of Ask Me Anything AMA videos, Hoskinson basically says part of the problem with regulating crypto assets is that tokens are dynamic and hard to categorize. So let's get right into the quote here, because I think it's absolutely fantastic, Chris. He says, the problem with cryptocurrency is they do everything and nothing. Some days they look like securities, some days they look like commodities, some days they look like currencies, and some days they look like something else entirely. In many ways, cryptocurrencies are the stem cells of finance. A stem cell is like a supercell, and basically it can become a heart cell, a brain cell, and so forth. And regulation is a little difficult because more often than not, regulators like buckets. They don't see stem cells. They see heart cells and brain cells, and there's regulatory agencies connected to that system. Okay, and basically at this point in XRP's 8-year history, Hoskinson says he does not believe it is a security, although its status may have been different in its earlier days. So here's that second quote. In my prior statements, I said I don't think XRP is a security, and I think its current form, the current use, and the level of decentralization the ecosystem has, that's certainly true. Was Ripple a security at some point during its life? I'm sure a fair argument could be made. Okay, so really interesting points there. I really like that first kind of quote from Charles and how he kind of goes through that. But let's see what else he has to say, because he goes on for quite a bit of time here. So I believe that XRP is not a security, at least in the general sense. And I go back to that stem cell argument, right? So there is certainly security-like behavior, and it's deeply puzzling to me. For example, in the age of smart contracts, why an actual real company would be responsible for distribution of a token. Now, that makes no sense. You don't have to do that when you have an already existing functioning network. So that alone is problematic, especially when there's discretion amongst the custodial company to spend that. So Hoskinson says that this is fundamentally different, than the SEC's actions against Block.One, the creator of the cryptocurrency of EOS, right? So with EOS, the SEC had an escape valve, right, where they said, we're going to focus on the ERC20 token that Dan and the company sold, and we're going to take a push position that that certainly was a security. then they fine them for that. But what they didn't do is connect that ERC20 token to EOS in distribution today. So they said maybe that's a security, maybe it's not a security. We're not going to talk about it. We're not even going to think about it. It basically gave a way for both sides to save face. The SEC got a good enforcement action. They were able to get $24 million fine. Block.one gladly paid that and kind of let those sleeping dogs lie, and then they could move on with their life and start operating their network. The problem with this enforcement action is there's no escape valve, right? The position the SEC is taking is that Ripple was a security in 2012 and it remains a security today, 8 years later. So what does that eventually, what does that even mean, right? It means that all the behavior that they did would be subject to securities law and disclosure inside trading, regulations, and all these types of things. They're all connected to those dots accordingly, right? So, and it's really interesting because basically, the idea that a cryptocurrency could be a security, is my understanding from a US point of view, was that it's not even possible until 2017. So how could you then say, okay, cryptocurrencies are subject to security law in 2017, but then backdate that to 2012? You can correct me if I'm wrong, let me know in the comments, but I find that quite puzzling in itself. So let's go on and see what else is in here, right? So regardless of the outcome, Hoskinson says he doesn't believe that there will be a domino effect on the crypto industry at large if Ripple is ultimately declared a security. I don't believe for a moment that, for example, if Ripple goes down and XRP burns in a fire, that somehow the whole industry is going to fall apart and everything is going to be a security, Ethereum and on down. So it's not just going to happen. I don't believe it at all. I think, frankly, the big fight that's going to happen in 2021 is going to be the proof of stake fight. Does proof of stake make a cryptocurrency a security or not? It's my belief the answer is no. However, this has been litigated, much like proof of burn has never been litigated as a distribution mechanism. It's one of those open questions in the cryptocurrency space. Ethereum too is going to force that conversation, much like Libra forced the conversation for stablecoins and brought them into the forefront. So what's going to happen with XRP if they win? The Ripple people win. It would probably make it much more difficult to just blanket call a cryptocurrency a security. So, lots going on in this kind of conversation, Chris. So let's kind of go through what our thoughts are on this and, kind of give the guys, a bit of reassurance here, because I think ultimately, it isn't a security. We know it's not a security. Mm-hmm. I think the majority of the world know it's not a security. I'm also very puzzled, Chris, on this whole thing with security law, or when cryptocurrencies were actually subject to that security law. Or was that from 2017, and therefore everything prior to 2017 is now in question? That confuses me. It's like moving the goalposts halfway through, right? A football match, for example. I find it very puzzling. But what's your thoughts on all of this?
So, for me, I've seen David Schwartz on stage, talking about the fact that they meet with the SEC weekly. And the reason they did this was they wanted to make sure that they weren't breaking any laws, that they're obviously following all the correct legal frameworks that are sort of in place and all that sort of stuff. And the reason for that was they didn't want to be in this position that they find themselves in 8 years down the line, being deemed that it's a security, right? So I find it very interesting and unusual, I guess, to be in this position when you've sat down with Ripple weekly, by the sounds of it. And obviously there's two sides to every story, right? But when you're on stage talking with them, and obviously like a lot of these things are recorded, right? So you've got hundreds, maybe thousands of people in the audience, and then obviously it's all over YouTube because people are filming it. We've had employees from the SEC that are now former employees. I will just sort of be quite clear on that. But at the time they were employees, saying that they don't deem it a security. So we've had this. Other agencies within the US have deemed it a cryptocurrency. It's one of those. It's almost like these different agencies in the US aren't aligned to what the goal is either. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how this all sort of transpires. And they say that they're there to protect investors, but they've caused a lot of pain, right?
That's exactly it. Yeah, it's very, very odd. The whole thing is incredibly odd. And I'm going to just bring this up because this is the thing that's really getting me confused, right? So the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, Securities Exchange Act of 1934, right? Release number 𝗕𝗢𝗠𝗠𝗘𝗧𝗏, July 25th, 2017. This is the one that then says, that basically, decentralized, anonymous organizations and basically digital assets, all that kind of stuff, right? So this is 2017, but yet they're going after Ripple for something from 2013. I find it so difficult to understand from a US point of view, and switching the goalposts, halfway through is strange enough. But then, what about the 5-year statutory, period, right? We're going back further than 5 years, right? So how can they do that as well? There's so many things that are confusing about this. I really don't understand how they think they had a case. So very, very confused from my point of view. To me, it just feels like a lot of noise for nothing. Very much overplayed, as you say, Chris. And I just can't believe that there's a scenario where the SEC could even, come out the winners of this one.
Yeah, I kind of feel like, it's just to force the regulations and the clarity required and nothing more. And I think, I could be wrong, but my opinion is that, once this is all done and dusted, that XRP will have the clarity required and everybody will move on, and we would have got some XRP at some really good prices. And there were people that were saying, I wish, XRP was back down at, 20 cent or 25 cent, because I would have bought more.
There was a lot of that, wasn't there? I mean, it's definitely, come down in price, and you could definitely, if you're in the position to do so, you can pick up some XRP at reasonable prices for sure. But on the flip of that, Chris, and I've just brought it up here, is the fact that the Ripple lawsuit could invoke billions in losses to innocent third parties, right? And this comes from the former SEC commissioner. And I'm not going to read this article, but basically, when certain people, profit, and a lot of other people will be, hurt massively so. And that's one thing that you get pretty clear picture from the chart, right? Billions were wiped off of the market cap of XRP. And a lot of people felt a lot of pain in this scenario, which is why you're potentially seeing, class action lawsuits, against the SEC for damages and all that kind of stuff, right? Because ultimately, if Ripple were to win this thing, I think the SEC have a lot to answer for, and I think a lot of people might even potentially, go forward as plaintiffs for that class action, because there's a lot of reasons why they would want to. So as always, when people, are potentially getting these are innocent third parties, investors, retail investors, that got hurt massively on the back of this news. And again, we look back to how Ripple knew about it 24 hours in advance, meaning that basically anyone who had XRP was, had prior knowledge of this lawsuit could have liquidated their XRP holdings ahead of time. And therefore, the pain was really on the people that the SEC should have been protecting. So, how many times did these guys have to fail at their day job? You know what I mean? I find it so puzzling how they were even able to, get up in the morning and carry on with what they've done. I find the whole thing incredibly puzzling. But guys, we'll leave that with you. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, specifically around a couple of points. The whole 2017 Act for Securities with the digital assets. How is then backdating that even going to work from a legal standpoint? If anyone does know, drop that down in the comments below. I'd be keen to know that. Let us know what your thoughts are on XRP price. Do you think that's going to go to zero, as some people claim? Or do we think we're going to be rebounding? For us personally, because we're outside of the US and we see the fact that it's being utilized everywhere else, regardless, of what the US do, we can't see it going to zero. But if you are in the opposite camp, let us know in the comments down below. It'd be interesting to get your perspective as well. And with that said, do go ahead and smash that like button if you've enjoyed today's video. As always, if you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe. By subscribing, you will be kept up to date with all the videos and live streams that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And with that said, we hope you have a fantastic day, and we'll catch you all in the next one.
Yeah, take care.